Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another daily review. I'm here with a few people from the Shine chat, so I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to go through the charts. It's a new month, so new weekly candle. Let's see what the market is doing. They've got questions every now and then, so yeah, couple questions are going to get answered during this video as well. So let's start off with the total market cap. We can see that last month produced a doji candle, so there was some indecision. We did go up, we did go down. We'll need to look into the smaller time frames for a little bit more detail. So let's head over into the weekly. So yeah, like I've been saying over the past couple of days, we can see that the higher end of the wick here, this wick was the first part of the movement throughout the month. We had a rally up to the 2.9 trillion market cap, and then we had a pullback into the support, which we ended up rejecting as a higher low. So, you know, I'm bullish on this as long as we keep prices above this level. So far on the daily, let's look at what price is doing. So we found a very intermediate resistance right here. So honestly, we can see a range forming until we reclaim this level and break above the 2.7. Then we can see the rest of the market follow through back to the all-time highs. But this will really depend on what Bitcoin does. So all eyes on Bitcoin. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's head over there and see how it did in the monthly. So a little bit similar here in the Bitcoin. The body of the candle is a little bit larger, and we did close bearish by roughly 7.5%. So let's look into the smaller details and see exactly why. It's a very similar situation, like I said, because Bitcoin makes up most of the market cap. So of course the total market cap will reflect very accurately to what Bitcoin is doing. We've seen a push up, like we made this higher high up here into just roughly 70k USD, and then we've had a pullback. The fact that we've managed to stay above the 54,000 support level is really important, because that is a key level. If we can hold above the 54,000 key level, then we are looking bullish. You can see indicated by these arrows here. Only once we see price break below this support, then we can see further downside to roughly 48,000, and then it just depends on how price will react to this level. But we're not there yet, we're right here. You can see over the past 3 days, we had a strong rejection, and now price is still trying to come up, but we're having a little bit of intermediate resistance here. But it's early on in the week, it's very early on in the day, so we'll just give it some time and see how it goes. The fact that it's above 54k is all good. Now, ETH actually had a really nice, couple of days. Maybe let's look at the month on ETH. Yeah, so I mean, you can see ETH had a very good performing month. Last month we were up about 7.75%. So far, it's like the most bullish asset we've seen, but we're only like 2 in. So let's see what ETH did on the daily. We created a high, we had our pullbacks down to the 4,000 level, and I have been telling the Shine chat for like 2 weeks now, as long as we see price hold above the 4,000 level, we can expect 10k for ETH. Will it be in a few weeks? Will it be in a few months? We don't know. That's just my personal target. It's not a signal. Yeah, none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing you my opinions and what I'm doing. So yeah, we've held above 4,000 very clearly. We've had 3 massive bullish candlesticks, as you can see. All that represents is that, you know, price pulled down into this area, and there were so many buyers already. There was so much volume here, and it pushed it right up. And that actually pushed us above the next key level, which is at 4,600. So now that we've reclaimed this level, all I'm waiting for is some sort of, either we come up to these levels here, the last highs, and do something like this. Because right now we've broken above. I'm looking for price to come up, test, people take profits, will send price back down into what was a resistance, but we flipped it into support, a touch on that, and then a break back above. So I'm looking essentially for a higher low to be created, because right now we've created this rally. I mean, in the long term, we're still looking for the higher high to be created. So I guess that makes a bit more sense. We're looking for the next higher high to be created, and then on the next higher low, that's where I possibly will enter a pretty nice trade on ETH. Going into the weekly, we can just look at the candlesticks here. You know, we've 2 weeks ago, we had price pull back from the 4,600 level down into the 4,000, which we rejected strongly. The next week, we came down back into 4,000. We rejected it strongly again. That's already given me clues that there's lots of buyers here. And then so far this week, we've had price like strong rally. Like, what are we up at the moment? Nearly 10% this week. So this area is a very strong key level, hence why I refer to it so often. But looking good for ETH. SEOUL. I entered a trade last night on SEOUL thanks to one of our members. He asked me a question about, you know, what would you do in this kind of situation? And looking into SEOUL, I realized that, hey, I think there's a decent trade opportunity coming up. So shout out to Dan. He's actually on call right now with us, listening in live. And yeah, so let me just break this down real quick. From the monthly, what has SEOUL done? Now, there's a bit of mess on the screen, so let me just remove that. SEOUL tried to rally, as we can see. Like, it did push up 25%, but it couldn't hold those levels. There was obviously, there was so much euphoria in the market. I mean, look at the performance since, like, August, like a couple months ago. It did push, like, 600%. From August, like within a few months. In the market, you know, there's cycles. If we're in a bull trend, we see higher highs and higher lows. SEOUL hasn't set like high, like on the big time frames. All I can see is just up, 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 up. Price will need to pull back at some point, and I believe that's what we saw here. This 25% pullback or 20% pullback from the top. So going into the weekly, it's showing us a very healthy market structure. Like, we've seen higher highs being broken, higher lows being set. We can see a clear area of liquidity here where price, every time it touches into it, it bounces up. Like, there's obviously buyers here. And to further like make this a stronger confluence, if we drag it over, this area at some point was a resistance as well. And I can make that a little bit more clear by putting it over here like this. So I'd say the key level is about 180. So it was a resistance, we flipped it into support. We're using this level as a higher low, most likely going to be a jump pad. That's why I entered long in SEOUL. So pretty much what I saw is once price had dipped into this area of liquidity, flipping this resistance into a support, we started seeing bullish movement. Now, I had gone into the smaller time frames and seen higher highs and higher lows being formed on the smaller time frames. So again, I was paying a little bit more detail to the smaller time frames. So I cut off a bit of price action here, and let me show you what I saw. Yeah, so price had it had been making lower lows and lower highs until it came into the area of liquidity here, which it looks like it made its first intermediate higher low from this area. So if we follow price and see what it does, it was holding this area. Boom, it dipped in. We had a strong rejection. This is on the 4-hour time frame, by the way. So now this is further convincing me that this is an area with many buyers. So boom, this candlestick was pretty much what told me, gave me that good entry. I saw this massive bullish engulfing candle right after we've had that strong rejection from this area in the form of a higher low. We've seen prices over here. This is the previous intermediate resistance. So what I mean by intermediate resistance is it's not nothing huge. It's just on the smaller time frames. Yeah, smaller time frames, and they carry a little bit less weight to them. Like, it's not a significant level like this one is. So, but you can still see that price was obviously rejecting this area. And if I drag this over here, we had resistance here, which turned to support here, and then it came back to resistance here. So it is current. I wouldn't say it's a key level, but it's an intermediate level. That's just the word I use. Anyways, once I saw price close above all these levels with that big bullish candle, I waited, and roughly around, I started seeing price trying to break above, and then at that point, where did I enter? We saw the pullback, so we had a clear break and retest. So from here, it was acting as a resistance. We broke resistance, retest with a higher low, and yeah, that's exactly where I entered, and up to current times, we are up here so far. So yeah, waiting for this trade. Honestly, it's healthy for me, but I just don't like this trend line, which I didn't really spot beforehand. I took this trade last night. I was pretty tired, but there is this trend line coming here, but more than likely we're gonna break this trend line, form a higher low from there, and then fly up to our targets at $300. So it's a bit of a riskier trade, but yeah, I mean, my stop loss has been set appropriately. As long as we don't break below these levels, then our trade's safe. It's still valid, so I'm just gonna wait. SEOUL Finance still getting pummeled. Still waiting for it to get to 50 cents. Nothing's changing about that. Once it hits 50 cents, then I'm gonna order like buy some more at that point. This is the overall look at what SEOUL Finance has been doing. Very bearish month. Yeah, sorry for all the analysis on the screen. Let me just clear this up, make it a little bit easier to see. So we can just get rid of that and get rid of that. So yeah, pretty much we've had a pullback. Let me put this on the Fibonacci, put the Fibonacci retracement. So yeah, if we do pull back into the 50, it lines up perfectly with the golden ratio of like retracements, the Fibonacci. I don't know, people call it different things. If we pull back into this area, it just means there's a higher chance that it's going to bounce. I will make a video in my course about how to use the Fibonacci retracement tool. I don't personally use it too much, but it's just good for an added confluence. DOT over the past month, again, we've had touches to the downside, we've had touches to the upside. Right now, it looks like there's some indecision, so let's go into the smaller time frames and see what price actually did. So what price actually did was form a higher high, then it's pulled back to form a higher low. That's basic bullish market structure. So we've rejected the 32 key level here, which is the support, at creating a higher low. So what comes next? A higher high. Got good hopes for DOT. I might enter a trade for DOT sometime soon when I see some more opportunities. At the moment, if I draw a trend line from like here down, something like this, it's looking nice. Like we've sort of broken above the trend line, but now I want to wait for some sort of pullback to create a higher low or some strong rejection to this trend line or this area before I enter. That will give me extra confirmation, and it will be a more probable, like a higher probability that the trade will be successful. FTT, which is the native token for FTX, which is the exchange that I use most of the time. We've broken just up above 50, which is a psychological level. So, you know, as long as 50 holds, then we can see price coming back up to hopefully the top of the trend line. You know, this is how it's working, right? We can see this clear triangle being formed, touch from this descending trend line down to the support, back and forth, back and forth. This is a very common pattern which I see, and the same pattern which I entered in SEOUL. As you can see, like stable support, we're not making any lower lows, but we're making lower highs. It's the exact same thing. So I like trading this pattern a lot, but we're still a little bit too early. Usually price makes its breakout when we make our way closer to the end of the triangle. Something like that. So first, I want to see if like price come back up to this trend line, see how it reacts to it, because then that will form a higher high from like these levels here, which is an obvious resistance. So that the obvious resistance will roughly be at like 53, 54. If we can break through that level, because right now we're consolidating. So if I draw this, I've got an area of consolidation here. Now, I'll also include this in the course, like how to trade certain situations, how to trade a zone, for example. What essentially I'll look for in this case is price to break above the zone, touch the trend line, come back and retest the top of the box, forming a higher low, and then from there, doing something like this. It's a bit messy, but you get the point. Something like this. I'm going to keep this on the chart because if it does play out, then that's just going to be pretty cool. But yeah, essentially I'm looking for price to break out the zone, touch the trend line, and then after that make some sort of higher low. Either it be off a Fibonacci retracement level, either it be a higher low off the top of this box, either it be a higher low off an area of like volume. I just need a higher low. MINA. MINA has just been boring for a while. Let's look at the monthly. So yeah, we did try to rally. Over the past 3 months, Mina has tried to rally past $5, but every time it did, it just got rejected. Mina is struggling to break above these levels, so there's not too much going on, and now it's just consolidating. You can see, tries to come up, gets brought back down, tries to go up, gets brought back down. But the good thing is the $4 level is holding. So as long as the $4 is holding, we can get a reclaim of the $5 for at least a few days, because you can see it rarely could even hold for a few days. Like, it broke above $5 for 1 day here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, like, yeah, always less than a week. It can barely retain that level. So if you can see a reclaim of $5 and hold for a week at least, then obviously that would be good for us, but we're not there yet. We're still just in mid-air between 2 key levels. We can't do anything right here besides wait. SNX, well, this could be an interesting one. Let me show you why. There's an area of support just over here, which we have reached, and it's a fair way down, not gonna lie. So we've seen lots of lower lows and lower highs. Price like from the top crashed to current times like 73%. So if we do see price pop off from this support here, because if you look at it, maybe on the monthly will be a bit clearer. So we've seen lows being set in this area, and I will actually make this a little bit clearer. Something like this. Okay, there we go, and I'll get rid of this level, move it up. Okay, so this would be my area. We got a support here at roughly $7.35, and then this area is then the area of liquidity. So if we bounce off here, good, but if we come back down into this area, then I'm still not worried, because as you can see, price had been all the way down to this point before it pushed all the way back up. So no harm if price comes into this area. If I am thinking about making a trade, which I may, I will set stops below this point, something like this, and I will target the next highs. So honestly, it would be risking, I'd be risking 30% of my investment for 280%. Nice trade if it works out, but like, this is when risk management becomes important. 30% of your investment is quite a lot. Essentially, if you put in $100, if you lose, you're gonna lose like $30. Coming from my Forex background, I never risk more than 1% per trade. So if I got a $100 account and I enter this, I will make sure this stop loss will be set at only $1. And because you can see the risk to reward ratio is 9.71, all that means is that for every $1 I risk for the downside, I will make $10, like nearly $10 back. So you could say like, my account say is $1,000. I want to risk 1%. That will be like $10. So if you get taken out of this trade, you lose $10. If you win this, then well, 9 times 10, you'll make $90 back. That's just the basic risk management. I will make a thing on like just a specific video on this for my course as well. But yeah, I might enter a trade here just because we've seen the touch into this support in the form of a higher low. Obviously, I need to wait and find some confirmations, because look, it's just been pulling back. We've just touched it. I want to see some sort of lower time frame, higher highs, higher lows, some sort of high being broken, some extra confirmations before I enter this trade. So yeah, I'll keep everyone updated, of course. Next we have RUNE. We've had a nice push. I mean, let's look at the monthly first. So the monthly, we pulled back quite a bit. We pulled back about 25%, but the important part about this is that we formed a higher low. So you can see price following this trend line. We got a low here, we got a high, and we've pulled back after hitting this like a significant level up here. We've pulled back to form a higher low. And it looks like now price is, over the past week, like we've come down, touched it, and now we're making our way up. So right now, I'm just waiting for price to reclaim this area, like 12 to 13. If we can close above $13, then that clears out the rest of the highs, and we got a very clear path from here up to the last highs of about 30%. So this could be a potential 30% trade, which would be sweet, but I need to see a solid reclaim of these levels. If you're a bit riskier and you want to enter the trade from here, just because we've seen like the touch off this support and the intermediate higher highs and higher lows, then you could be looking at a trade at maybe, yeah, you could be making a 50% trade. So you put in like $100, you make $50 out of it. So that's not a signal, by the way. I'm just saying, if you want to trade a bit riskier, then go for it. Going into the metaverse tokens, we're coming towards the end here. We got the last three. I feel like these are the best three performing assets right now, recently. The last month, we saw price pull down, like, we saw price pull down 57%. And then from there to now, we've come up like 118. So all that is higher highs and higher lows. That's all it's telling me. So let's look into the daily. Exactly. So we formed the highs here from the first initial rally. We've pulled back down into this support at 6 cents. Now we've seen the rally, and it's actually formed not a higher high, but we formed a double top formation. This double top is like a reversal signal. So if we see a high being made here and then at the exact same price range, it gets rejected, that's a double top because there's two tops at the same level. And what that does is it sends price down. It's a reversal pattern. But the fact that price actually came down and on the daily time frames held a higher low from 10 cents, yeah, from the 10-cent level. So like, this is what I'm referring to. This low, this high, and then this is a higher low. The fact that we formed this higher low, rejected this support, and have come back up to test the double top, I wouldn't exactly say it's going to have a strong reversal unless we break below this support. If it breaks that support, then now the double top is valid because we've broken market structure. We're no longer making higher highs and higher lows from the last push, and then we could see price pull down. But right now, price is between two levels, but if you look on the smaller time frames, we see this pattern occurring again. Equal lows and lower highs. This has formed that triangle, and what we've seen here is we've seen price actually break out of the triangle and use this resistance to stop, and now we're pulling back. So if we actually make a higher low or like test this trend line from here, we could see a break above, and if we reclaim the 14 cents level, then we'll see a push up to see if we can test these higher levels. So what I'm looking for now on block is for price to stay above 11.5 cents. If we stay above 11.5 cents, then more than likely we'll break 14. If we don't, we'll see a range, but yeah, my trades will be invalidated if we close below this level here. Now we have sand. I mean, look, what can I say? Last month, sand boosted from bottom to top 444%, and just from like the open to closed 340%, which is nuts. So what are we doing here? Going to the smaller time frames. Yeah, we just made a big push and now we're pulling back. That's all. I'm waiting for... We formed like a little double top formation here, but if we can hold above this support, then price will just range and hopefully push up. But this looks like a higher low from this low, so hopefully we don't close below these lows. But ultimately, yeah, I want to see price stay above this level to indicate that price could break above here. Overall bullish on sand. My Shine Chat and we are currently up 80% on this trade. We did reach 100%. Well, actually, we boosted past 100% where we took some profits. And now these profits I'm waiting to inject back into the market when price pulls back. Last but not least, we have MINA. This is the native token for Decentraland. Not a good sign that we've seen price breaking below this trend line, but it's only on the 8-hour time frame and the candlestick hasn't closed yet. For all we know, price could pull back and shoot back up and close above the trend line, so it really depends where this next candle closes. I'll be looking for where the daily closes. We can see that there's a strong support just around here. Pull it over, we can see it was also once a resistance. So something like that. This red zone is for me like if price comes down to this area, this is where I want to buy, because this is where the most volume is within this area. And I just use the fixed range tool to find that. So if it breaks below that, then though, I will start cutting out some profits which I'm currently in, and because price will, if it breaks past 4 cents to the downside, $4, sorry, more than likely we will see price come and test $2.50. So I'm just gonna wait for the daily, see how this closes. I'll update you guys tomorrow as I do, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But essentially that sums up the daily forecast and review. Hope you guys liked the video. It was a nice 25-minute one, nice and juicy. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the market. Honestly, it's all eyes on Bitcoin. So we want to see price break and close above the 60,000 level. If we can get that, then I feel like the rest of the market's going to rally. But as for now, we currently have one trade open, which is on SEOUL, which I will be monitoring. But that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Whew, that was a loaded one.
True that.
Fuck.